Hello and welcome to In the Know, a program of Quincy Access Television, a program that helps you to stay informed and up to date. We are chatting with the Norfolk County Sheriff, Patrick McDermott, for this episode of In the Know. I want to welcome you, Patrick. You've been in the studio many times. We certainly appreciate you coming to Quincy Access Television. We should mention, however, that this show does distribute itself throughout Norfolk County, which is nice.
It's great, and I appreciate the fact that it goes out to all of our sister, brother, cable outlets around the county. I love coming in. It's a great way to get the word out about what we're doing in the Sheriff's Office. I've been in the office now for 9 months, and we have a team that's constantly coming up with new ideas and initiatives on how we can help the people in Norfolk County from a public safety point of view. So we're enjoying the ride so far, and we appreciate the partnership we have with QATV.
Well, the door rather, is always open. The invitation is always there.
Awesome.
So
there it is.
Just keep that in mind, and I know you do. Today we will be talking about, we are at the beginning of September, so this is back to school. So today's topic really centers around youth.
Absolutely. So yeah, we're coming off of a great summer. I think most folks were able to enjoy the summer this year more so than they did last year. Post-pandemic, well, we're still in the pandemic, but obviously with the vaccinations and people doing the right thing, we've been able to enjoy our summer a little bit more. And now we're focused on going back to school, and you know that speaks to kids and speaks to what we have for youth program and what we want to see from the sheriff's perspective in terms of making programs available for kids about making right choices, leadership decisions, and getting back in touch with those things.
And you say, makes so much sense, to make those correct choices, because something so simple can determine the trajectory of your life.
Absolutely, and it's as I remember, as we were growing up, whether it was, smoking cigarettes or hanging out on the corner. I remember driving by many of my
Wollaston Beach.
Wollaston Beach, and
at
a certain time of the day, there's nothing going on good after sundown, and those kids hanging around the corner, and so it's just making the right choices. It's about we watch out for peer pressure, and certainly that hasn't changed over the course of time, over generations, but we want to make sure that kids are given the right knowledge on how to make those choices and how to identify right from wrong on certain things, and the dangers that are associated with things, as simple as don't start smoking or don't do drugs, and the reasons why you shouldn't be doing those things, how much it affects your athletic ability or your ability to sing or participate in programs.
And the face of things have changed. For example, bullying has changed with technology. Now there's text bullying, if you will, or something similar.
No, it's awful. I mean, back in our day, it was about being picked on in the schoolyard. Or I remember as a kid, getting bullied when I was delivering the Patriot Ledger, and a kid trying to steal my
Probably
collection.
Being bullied by someone from the Quincy Sun.
Probably that was the thing. I shouldn't say I sat out as a Sun person, and then I went to the Ledger. But that's the whole thing. And nowadays, it's all about cyberbullying. It's about kids on Instagram and Facebook and texting, and it can be a disastrous thing for a kid. It'd be horrifying for some of the kids. And I have two teenagers. I've watched the evolution of technology with both of my son and daughter, and it is scary to see what pressures these kids are under, and it's a lot different than it was for us. But we want to make sure that we educate those kids on how to make those right choices, and how to relate to their peers in a positive way, and how to shun those that aren't necessarily going to be aren't really their friends.
And of course, coming off of Black Lives Matter and Asian hate crimes, all preventable. All of this is preventable if people. It's easy when people start at a young age to educate kids, and for the most part, the younger generation is more accepting anyway.
Exactly, and I am amazed. I haven't been involved in youth programs for many, many years, and most recently when I was involved with the Quincy Youth Football League, and I watched all these kids come together. They were from different, diverse backgrounds, ethnic backgrounds, cultural backgrounds, and yet to watch kids come together as a team, with a winning mentality about how to come together and execute a plan. And that's what I see these days. The kids are so much more inclusive, I think, than they were back in the past. But it doesn't mean we're outside of the danger. There's still a lot of problems, and we saw that last year with BLM and the Asian hate crimes. We got to have conversations with society in general, but it starts with the kids. You know, if we can put our kids in a position where, you know, there is no place for hate in our community, then those kids are situated in a better place as they get into adulthood and beyond that. So we want to work with the kids to do that, to show that we have a culturally diverse community, that we can live in harmony with each other. And that we rely on each other,
and we learn from each other.
And we learn from each other. So that's what our programming is all about. And you know, when you look at our camps or our leadership programs that we have, we always have a diverse group of kids, and we want to make sure that we emphasize how valuable that is.
Let's look at specifically the Leadership Academy, which took place this year in 2 different locations.
Yes.
So it has expanded. Talk about the program and the 2 locations.
So the Youth Leadership Academy is something I inherited. You know, Sheriff Bellotti put this together 20. We're actually going to be celebrating 20 years next year.
Congratulations.
So we're going to be putting some festivities together for that, and bringing back some alumni that did, both students as well as teachers, to really celebrate that. We're going through the archives of pictures. But that Leadership Academy is housed down in Braintree at our public safety complex in Braintree. And for almost 20 summers, we've been having kids come out for 10 to 12 weeks or so, give or take, whatever we can fit in, for sessions down in Braintree. And we've had enormous success. These things sell out instantly as soon as they're on the scheduling session online. And we had enormous success this year, despite COVID. We weren't at 100% this year, about 85-90% that we were at, but we were able to have a full summer of activities down at our Braintree complex, mostly surrounding our curriculum of team building, you know, focusing on, you know, peer pressure issues, how to make right choices, that team building concept. And we actually have, what's the popular part is going up on our ropes course, and helping each other get through, overcome fears, overcome those obstacles. And it was great. So our Braintree facility has been the premier location. But it only serviced the northern part of the district, you know, so most of our kids are from Braintree, from Quincy, Weymouth, Holbrook, this part of the area. But I felt that we needed to expand it, and so I talked with some folks down in Franklin, Rentham, Foxborough, and we were able to find a park in Franklin that was willing to host us. So we did a pilot program 1 week, once again sold out instantly. With the kids, and the parental feedback, the kids' feedback that we got was overwhelmingly, you've got to come back next summer. So we are actively looking right now for a location as well as funding sources to make sure that we can have a full service camp next summer, both in Braintree and in Franklin, so that all of Norfolk County can enjoy what I think is a real gem of an operation.
And we should mention, which I didn't know, that there are opportunities for youth participation throughout the year.
So yeah, what we do down at Braintree is, you know, once the school year starts out, we'll be reaching out to our school administrators, principals, you know, athletic directors. So our camp is open, our ropes course is open, and we have the facilities to host field trips to our facility. We have kind of a condensed academic program on those leadership aspects, and we hope to have the Braintree campus very vibrant, and subject to weather, like anything else. We're probably active September right through, you know, maybe November into December, depending on the climate. And then we'll probably shut down January, February, and we'll be back at it in March, and then we'll ride right through to the summer program. So it's available, and I hope that the school administrators will take advantage of opportunities to bring the kids down to the campus. We have curriculum for all different age types as well, for both, you know, school-age kids as well as the you know, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, YMCA, anybody that wants to come participate, and we'll arrange a proper age-appropriate curriculum for them.
I know the mobile emergency unit was out and about this summer and went to various communities. I know on Facebook there was a specific, the town is slipping my mind, but in general it goes out and really teaches folks, really teaches kids what this is all about.
Yeah, and it's kind of a great vehicle that we have, and we use it predominantly, you know, on with our MetroLEC program. So we have a partnership with surrounding police departments on emergency situations, call-outs for search and rescues, you know, any kind of emergency response, whether it's, you know, a storm. That we were on the ready on the recent hurricanes, just in case we had to be deployed. So that's the active use of it. So we like to bring them out when the vehicle's not being used. We love to come out to town days, bring them out to schools or special events. And it's an attraction. The kids just love to come over. They like to go through it. There's a lot of technology in there. It's a mobile command center, so police departments usually tie in, so we can fully communicate whether on an emergency response, and we have tons of TV monitors and everything else in there, so it's great.
It was Stoughton.
It was Stoughton, yeah. I know we go out to multiple communities, but Stoughton, I think, was the Facebook post.
And is the unit potentially used in more towns than it would be in other towns? I mean, as far as maybe what that town has for facilities?
Yeah, I mean, there's some communities that have there's very few. I think Quincy just got a brand new one. I think that Quincy is now fully equipped with a mobile command center. But some of the smaller communities don't have those kind of resources, so we're always on the call for those bigger events, or if a small community needs for whatever reason the command center to come out and help partner up with the local community to do whatever. And you'll see it in a lot of parades. I thought the parade season was over, but I just met today. I guess there's a bunch of parades coming up in the next couple of months. So,
oh, really?
Wellesley's having a big celebration for veterans. We have a big Irish Heritage Parade down in Weymouth that's coming up, and certainly the signature event here in Quincy is the Christmas parade in November. So the Sheriff's Department is in active demand for parade patrol. So
everyone loves a parade, of course, and because of the pandemic, a lot of parades were postponed, were canceled. So certainly, it's nice that to see them coming back.
Absolutely.
You and I talked about in previous episodes a program called Yes, and it basically incorporates both youth and seniors.
So we have multiple programs, obviously, in the Sheriff's Office, and it's all surrounding public safety issues and also putting together people, like-minded issues that can help each other. So what better combination than our youth program and our senior program. So the YES program is Youth Empowering Seniors, and it's an opportunity for the most part, for high school students to be partnered up with our friends in the senior community. And it was started as an opportunity for kids to teach seniors about technology, how to use your iPhone or your Android, or how to get on social media, on Facebook. And we want to see that program go again, and we're hoping that we can expand this a little bit more. I mean, most kids in high school have to meet that community service requirement for graduation. And I know my kids were always scrambling at the last minute looking for an opportunity to partner with a nonprofit or go someplace and be able to get their community service hours. So we want to make sure that this is offered as a great opportunity. And having kids work with seniors, I think, is just a great partnership. And so whether it's through technology or helping errands or even snow removal during the winter time, I think this is going to be a good match. And so we'll be reaching out to our high school partners around Norfolk County to see if there's any interest in some of their students that might be interested in participating in this program. We already have the seniors in place. We have an active senior program that's ready to jump on this program.
Nice.
So it's going to be fun.
Very nice. Distracted driving?
So one of the things that this has been going on for generations. I know is when I was a youth many moons ago, learning how to drive, they always emphasized, how distracted driving is something that's a big problem. And
right, but we should mention there's a whole different level with phone use now that we didn't have back in our day.
Back in our day, it was about the dialing on the radio was the big thing. You had to keep your eye on the road. You couldn't dial. And now it's about texting. It's about being on the phone. It's using GPS and putting in your Waze location. There's a whole host of distracted issues. And so we have a simulator that people, it's an actual car simulator that you can go in and it simulates distractions that can come your way, and it shows the tragic consequences of what could occur. And these things happen within seconds. It's not like, you could be distracted for 5 minutes and some bad thing happen. It's literally seconds when a car can come in front of you or a pedestrian that you just didn't see. So it really shows that life lesson of being able to pay attention and the responsible driving that's needed. So we bring our distracted driving program out to the communities, and the kids generally love it. They love getting there, and it's a fun ride, but it also raises awareness on the levels of distraction that can come into play.
And as much as a driver needs to realize that he or she can't be distracted, they also have to be aware of drivers around them and watch to make sure they're not distracted.
At the end of the day, that's what it was always about: defensive driving, and you had to make sure who was doing what. And inevitably, and it's something you see all the time, it is illegal to text and drive. People are doing it all the time, and it ends up in consequential problems. I mean, we grew up with drinking and driving is another, obviously certainly horrible thing, or drugging and driving. But it doesn't have to be as horrendous as that. It's as simple as a text message and just keeping your head down. And I saw a woman today coming here, and it was just at a red light, and sure enough, the horn started beeping, because when the green light came, she was looking at her phone. So luckily, that's not a tragedy, but still irks the people behind you.
We should also mention hands-free is the law here.
It is the law. It is the law. Kids have to be taught that. I know my son knows it all too well. He's been driving all around the South Shore with his new license, and I've drilled it into him. I think he listens, which is great.
I do believe, having a teenage son, I do believe that you get something across.
Yeah, there's a little bit here and there. Well, he certainly knows the consequences of what happens if you do not obey those kind of rules.
Well, his dad's the sheriff.
Yeah, I gotta be a little bit harder on him, I guess, than others.
Talk about the school outreach officers, obviously an important role.
Yeah, so we have a couple of our corrections officers that are very experienced over the course of time, and they've developed their programming to go into schools to talk about bullying and talk about drug use and responsible decision making. And we have our canine officers who are trained to come in and do canine demonstrations, which is great. So we're looking forward to sending our school resource officers into the schools where we're invited to go over our curriculum with kids. And
now we should mention that was affected last year because of the pandemic.
Pandemic, we were shut out, which rightfully so for that, and we're looking to build that back in. One of my goals, and this was paramount last year, there's been an ongoing friction with law enforcement and citizenry, and it's happened over the course of time. One day, police officers and sheriffs are heroes, and the next day we're the enemy for whatever reason. And I think we have to have an ongoing dialogue. We need to make sure that kids respect law enforcement. They understand that we are their trusted friends and partners in keeping them safe. And that starts with kids. If kids can feel safe amongst law enforcement professionals, then they'll respect law enforcement professionals going forward into their adult life. There's been a disconnect over the course of time on that, and I remember talking to people when I was running for the office of sheriff, saying that I will lead those conversations, and I will lead programs that we build up those great relationships that I know exist. I know I had great relationships with police officers and sheriff's office, going up when I was growing up. We need to maintain that, and that just doesn't happen overnight. It's not a long-term thing. It needs to be a daily thing that we pay attention to. So I think investing our school resource officers into the schools shows that trusted partnership that we want to have with our kids.
One of the towns in Norfolk County did a series of videos, basically Meet the Officer, which I believe to be quite effective, almost on the community policing platform.
Yeah, when I was a city councilor here in Quincy, we invested heavily in community policing, and it was about working with our police departments about getting police officers out of vehicles and actually onto the streets, and it was great. And it's the evolution of community policing. We now have, police officers on bicycles. You have police officers in some communities have horses, some communities, on motorcycles, but there's other police officers that community resource officers right on the streets, right in the schools. That, I think, has to be the model continuously going forward. And as sheriffs, we want to make sure that our officers are available as well. Years ago, sometimes the sheriffs are known just as the jail officer. We lock people up. And that's just not the message we want to send out. We want to send out the fact that we're a compassionate group of people that want to invest in kids and making good decisions. And you can trust your uniformed police officers and sheriff's officers to help you out in your time of need. And certainly, there's nothing better than knowing that there's a first responder available when you have that time of need, whether it's a medical emergency at your home, car accident, things of that nature. And I think that just starts when you invest in the kids and you start building that trust at that first level.
Talking about some opportunities to create inclusion and to include both kids and adults, summer movie nights during this past year.
We have such a great campus down in Braintree, and I wanted to, it's a real showcase, and people should come down, and even most folks just walk their dog around the campus, and it's a great place. But I said we need to use the facility more. We need to find different ways that we can bring the communities together, have a dialogue, conversation, and so our team came up with a movie night, and we just a couple of weeks ago in August we did a back to school movie night, one last blast with the family, and it was unfortunately it was a really hot night. It was one of the worst nights. So we had over 170 people had pre-registered for the event, and only about 70 showed up. It was really hot. There was there's a reason why people stayed away. But for those that did come, it was a really great night. And The Sandlot is a kind of a cult classic, baseball themed.
Great summer movie.
Summer movie, and just we had free popcorn. We partnered up with the Marge Crispin Center in Braintree. We had a food drive with our local Norfolk County Central Labor Council and the United Way. It was a real big success, despite the numbers being a little smaller than we expected, but I think that was the heat. So we're hoping to bring those kind of partnership events, mostly out of that Braintree complex, hopefully soon down to our Franklin complex, but we get some ideas for the fall, hopefully coming up with a pumpkin decoration party, possibly with another movie night as well. So we want to bring families together, and we have the facility for it, and once again, it helps build that trust with our law enforcement community and the families that we serve.
Very nice. I believe that to be quite a nice event, inclusive, again, event.
Yeah, that was a great event.
We usually end these programs with the Norfolk County hero,
yes.
And this time the hero is in fact a youth.
He is, and he's an Eagle Scout from Cohasset, Eric Hentz, and Eric, we saw his story and it melted our hearts. He has his older brother Tommy who has autism. And Eric put together as his Eagle Scout project a partnership with law enforcement, and they put together these kits for law enforcement who encounter kids or adults with autism. And some of the kits, they include weighted pads, they include noise canceling headphones, visual communication tools, whiteboards that can help communicate, and he raised like $6,000 to put these kits together, and has been distributing these kits to local law enforcement agencies around the South Shore. And we just thought it was a great project. We thought that it was very deserving of being one of those everyday heroes that are living among us. And so we're very proud that Eric Hentz is our Norfolk County community hero. Going for this month at least. So.
And what would you like to say to folks that might have a hero in their community and would like you to be aware of them? Yeah,
and we sometimes we ask for nominations from the community, and it's because sometimes things don't make the press, but it's something like an everyday hero does to build their community up. You could definitely nominate a local hero for us to consider, and then that's at norfolksheriff.com/Norfolk County Heroes. And we encourage everybody to nominate somebody. It might be a neighbor that's been helping out in the community. It might be a youth that's helping an elderly person. It could be anything. Somebody that's created a food drive. I mean, I recently just saw a kid, neighborhood group here in Quincy that I think put forth a lemonade stand, and I think it was for the Jimmy Fund or for the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute. So there's a whole host of things that everyday people are doing, and we just want to be an opportunity to recognize those people and recognize the good deeds that are being done throughout the community of Norfolk County.
Absolutely. I apologize for my phone going off. I should know more than anybody else to shut that prior
Sounds
to
good.
the show.
I like the ringtone.
I believe we just have a couple minutes left, and I do want to just circle back and talk about fire safety, because there is a program involving fire safety as well.
Yeah, it's one of the things we like that the kids really love to do too. Is we do have a smokehouse, which actually educates youth as well as adults on fire safety and fire safety behavior and what to do, to hopefully lessen panic and lessen the likelihood of injury in the event of a fire. And so we work with our local fire departments to facilitate that program. It's usually something we bring out to community days that are ongoing, and it's a great. Once again, we get a lot of feedback from that. We also have a live fire pit that we have some extinguishers, so we educate people how to use a fire extinguisher, and that's something that every household should have too. I think that's something I want to work with the fire department on, to make sure that you have a fire extinguisher in your house at all times. Make sure it's checked and inspected. It's at least every year, possibly every other year. But how to put out a fire is something that every citizen should know how to do. And whether you have a fire extinguisher or not, how to extinguish a fire. I think they taught me that in Cub Scouts, but not everybody knows.
And often you'll hear stories about young folks saving older folks, saving adults.
Absolutely.
Because they know they have training like this. They've been exposed to programs like this.
Yeah, and absolutely. In a fire situation, panic settles in very quickly, especially if you're in a smoke-filled room. I was blessed a few years ago to be put through the Fire Ops 101 course with the Quincy Fire Department, and they brought us down into their fire ops training place, and I had to go into a smoke-filled room with all the apparatus on.
I think I have you on video. Yeah, I was there too.
And that was a scary situation. I knew it was a simulation, but you felt my heartbeat going, and we had to go find the victim inside and be able to bring the victim out. And so those kinds of things and something that you'd see in the smokehouse is similar to that. If it's filled up with smoke, you can't use your visual or sometimes not your auditory. You really have to feel your way around. And so you have to train yourself not to panic, because with panic comes tragedy.
Absolutely. I know what I'm doing after the show. I'm going to research that old footage and see if I can locate it.
It's a great shot of me climbing the stairs with the full gear.
I want to thank you. We've come to the end of this program. Always a lot to talk about. Really great opportunity. I'm glad you take us up on the invitation to continue to come to Quincy Access and in turn through us go out throughout Norfolk County.
Yep, always a pleasure, Mark. I appreciate the opportunity to come in every month.
Until next time.
You got it.
And thank you at home for watching. Just a reminder to continually watch Local Access TV for more community-oriented programming.